Next up, we are going to talk about the internal gross anatomy of the kidneys themselves. So we talked about what they look like from the outside and where they are in the body. Now let's look at what they look like on the inside. So we do have two distinct layers of the kidneys, the outer cortex and the inner medulla. We've seen this terminology before. We had it in the ovaries, for example. So we've got this outer layer here, the cortex, the inner layer here, the medulla. They are going to be functionally different and look different. They meet at the cortico-medullary junction. Cortico is the adjectival form of cortex. So that just means it's the junction where the cortex meets the medulla. Now, the kidney is divided into lobes. Those renal lobes go from the cortex through the medulla, and it includes a pyramid, which is this sort of triangular shaped dark area, and then portions of the column on either side. Okay, so that whole thing is the renal lobe. Now, the tubes that do the actual filtration are going to be in the cortex and the medulla. And then they are going to produce the urine that gets emptied out into the renal papilla. Each of these is a little domed shape that empties into a minor calyx. Each of these little things is a minor calyx. The minor calyces fuse into major calyces. Here's a major calyx, here's another one over here. And then the major calyces dump the urine into the renal pelvis. I don't know what's going on with my screen over here. That's weird, right? The renal pelvis is this area here that then empties into the ureter. The ureter, of course, then carries the urine to the bladder, okay? So here's what it looks like in a real kidney. This one's from a cadaver. You can see each of these little pyramids in the medulla. You can see the difference between the cortex and the medulla, okay? And then you can see the little papilla, the calyces, the major calyces, and then the pelvis. On our model, it looks like this. Now this one's been partly sectioned, so you can see the fibrous capsule on the outside. You can see the cortex goes all the way around. You can see the pyramids, the lobes, medulla, cortex, and then minor calyces here. The papilla extends down into the calyx. The minor calyces fuse into a major calyx here, here, here. That dumps into the pelvis and then to the ureter. Up next, we will talk microscopic anatomy.